Hello, children. Good morning. I hope all are doing good. And I'm very happy to meet you through this online classes after a long gap. I hope you will enjoy the classes. Let's begin our class. In today's class, we are going to learn about reproduction in plants. Okay, what is reproduction? Reproduction is the process by which living organisms produce their young ones, which is known as reproduction. Plants are also living organisms. Do you know how do they reproduce? Yes, through seeds. Are all plants reproduced by seeds? No, only flowering plants, the plants which bear flowers, can reproduce by means of seeds. When plants reproduce from seeds, we call that process as sexual reproduction. So, sexual reproduction means plants produce their young ones only from seeds, not by any other means. All the other ways of reproduction without seed are called as asexual reproduction. So if a plant reproduces its young one without seed, then that process is called asexual reproduction. Let's see sexual reproduction in detail. Do you know how seed is produced? Seed is produced from a flower by the process of pollination and fertilization. I repeat, seed is produced from a flower by the process of pollination and fertilization. This process is known as sexual reproduction. To understand how seeds are formed in a flower, first we need to understand parts of a flower. Let's see few parts of a flower and its function. The first part we are going to see is petal. Petals are the largest part of a flower. They are often attractive, bright colored, sometimes sweet scented. Do you know why petals are brightly colored and has sweet smell? The reason is to attract insects and birds. Why should they attract insects and birds? To do a process called pollination. I will tell you what is pollination and fertilization in the next class. Okay, so far I said petals are the largest part of flowers. They are often attractive, brightly colored, sometimes sweet scented, to attract insects and birds for pollination. The ring of petals together is called corolla. The next part we are going to see is sepal. Sepal you can see in a bud. In a bud, we can see a green color leaf-like structure which cover the whole bud or flower. Each of these green-like structure present as an outermost layer is called as sepal. This outermost ring of sepal are known as calyx. Do you know what is the function of this calyx? They hold and cover the young developing flower bud. The next part is stamen. Stamen is a male part of a flower which consists of a stalk called filament and a lobe called anther. Here in this picture, it's difficult to distinguish what is filament and anther. So, if you see here the structure of stamen, you can easily identify which one is filament and which one is anther. So, this is the stalk. This stalk is called filament and this is the lobe. And this lobe is called anther. If you touch these lobes in a mature flower, you can get a powdery substance. If you see here in this picture, you can see those powdery substance. So these powdery substance are called pollen grains, which is a male reproductive part. The male reproductive part of a flower is called androecium. The next part is pistil. Pistil is the female part of a flower. Pistil consists of 3 parts. If you see at the bottom, the bulk portion. This bulk portion is called ovary and a tube-like structure. This tube-like structure is called style, and at the top a sticky structure called stigma. Okay, these 3 parts together makes the female part of a flower, which is called pistil. Do you know why the stigma is sticky? Yes, the function of stigma is to receive pollen grains. So the pollen grains are received by the stigma. That is why the stigma is sticky. If you cut the ovary, you can see tiny structures inside. Those tiny structures are called ovules. They are called ovules. These ovules are further developed into seeds. The female reproductive part of a flower is called gynoecium. Shall we revise once? The first part we saw is petal. Petals are bright colored, sweet scented. The function of petal is to attract birds and insects for Pollination. The ring of petals together are called corolla. The next part is sepal. The ring of sepal is called calyx. The function of calyx is to hold and cover the young developing flower bud. Then the male part, stamen, which consists of a stalk called filament and a lobe called anther. The male reproductive part of a flower is called androecium. Then the female part of a flower is called pistil, and pistil consists of three parts: the ovary, the style, and the stigma. Ovary consists ovules which developed into seeds, and stigma is very sticky to receive the pollen grains for fertilization. The female reproductive part of a flower is called gynoecium. So these are the four holes of a flower. What the four holes are: corolla, calyx, androecium, and gynoecium. These are the four holes of a flower. Okay, now we are going to see types of flowers. If you see this flower, this is a complete flower. Why it is a complete flower? Because this flower has all the four holes: the corolla, the calyx, androecium, and gynoecium. So if a flower has all the four holes, then it is called as complete flower. A complete flower always a bisexual flower. What is bisexual flower? Bisexual flower means the flower which consists both the male part and the female part. So the flower which consists of male and female part is called bisexual flower. So bisexual flowers are always complete flowers because they have all the four holes: the calyx, the corolla, stamen, and pistil. If you see this flower, it says it is imperfect or incomplete flower. Why it is incomplete flower? Because if you see here, it has corolla, it has calyx, it has pistil, gynoecium, but there is no stamen. The male part of a flower is missing. So it has only three holes: corolla, calyx, and gynoecium. Androecium is not here. So this type of flower is called imperfect or incomplete flower. An incomplete flower are always unisexual flower. Why it is unisexual? Because it has only one reproductive part. It could be either a female reproductive part or a male reproductive part. Hope you enjoyed the class, children. I'll meet you in the next class. Bye. Thank you.